Have you ever had to do a club where you're literally just mic-less?
No.
That I think clubs will...
Not that I in recent memory, but I know every club, at least of the ones that like the ones I'm like headlining at now, a lot of them will be like, there's the backup mic over there. And so it's not even like a thing.
That's amazing. I once had a wireless mic cut out and they couldn't get it to fix.
I hate wireless mics.
I don't like them.
Ugh, who likes them?
No one.
They're too big. They're too thick. It's weird. I don't know where to hold it.
Really big in your hand.
Yeah, I don't like it. People do it for their specials. And I'm like, no.
I like playing with the cable.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
Could be distracting to an audience.
It is.
How do you feel about that?
I think you're right. I do the thing, sometimes I whip it around.
You whip it around?
I like to get it out of my way. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
You don't do it.
I get it out of my way, but I'm not fucking with it.
No. I fuck with it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because it's, I don't know. I don't fuck with it in a way that's distracting. I certainly don't fuck with it on a punchline, but I certainly will like.
You're not making like animals out of it?
Why
did that joke not work?
So would. I don't think I could, but man, I would do something. How has there never been a comic that does something exciting with the mic cord? I don't know.
I don't know, but you can always tell a new comic when they're really fucking with it. When they're winding it up, they're touching it, they're pulling it. It's like,
oh no, I will. If I'm walking from one side to another, I have to whip it out of my way.
If you can do it, you can look real cool with it too.
You know who does it really cool is Mulaney. Mulaney takes it and whips it out of his way, and it always works. Mine works most of the time, but occasionally it doesn't. And
You've
I
only
just
injured
look
a few
like an
people
asshole. I took an eye out. By the way, before we keep going, I should introduce the tea. So the tea that we are drinking. Do you know the comic Chase O'Donnell?
I think I do. Actually.
Well, this is her tea brand. It's called Pity Partea. Yeah, you're like, put it. I'm out. It's called I've Totally Got This. It's a breakfast blend because we're doing this earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. I like it.
I like it too. I'm not a tea guy.
I was about to. That was my next question.
Ask me anything, dude.
Okay. What is your social security number?
35.
Yep. Are you not a tea guy at all?
At all. I do. I need strong espresso in the morning.
Already had
to start me. Like I need to do like the double shot to like kickstart me.
Yeah.
And then I've messed with different caffeines throughout the day of like what's the best for me. And I found those yerba mates. The low sugar yerba mates are my my go-to. If I'm on the road, I will go to Whole Foods. I will get 2 of them for the 2 days I'm there.
Yeah.
It's like that's my afternoon just to keep me. There's no jittery, there's no spike. It's just this consistent, nice caffeine level. And it's like sometimes you don't want to have like a milky coffee thing at like 3 p.m. and it's hot out. And so that's like a nice cold beverage that's also low sugar.
Yeah.
I've become very mindful about what I put in my body.
I will tell you, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable at all. You look good. You look really good.
Thank you.
You look like you're in good shape.
Thank you.
And as someone who is on the road a lot, which I believe that you are, I want to say it was 45 cities.
Yeah. Last year I did 45.
Well, you have a lot this year too. I was like looking at your list.
It's a lot.
You stay in better shape than I would expect for someone who is on the road that often.
Yeah, I really appreciate I love that compliment because I'm very, very mindful about how I treat my body and what I put in it because of the nature of what I do and how much I travel. A big thing is not drinking. I don't really drink. And I like
really
alcohol
either. Me too.
I think it's a fun time.
Yeah.
But I don't really like after the show's done, let's do fucking shots. No way. So I don't do that. And I also work out as much as I can when I'm home, hard on the road, because a lot of times I'll be doing Airbnbs. So you kind of just take the L.
Whoa. You're doing Airbnbs
for 60% of the time, probably.
I do like courtyards because they're like, you can get like a courtyard room for like $70. And in some cities, not in all, but like get like a courtyard Marriott, boom, you get the room, good. And I also don't have to worry about like, people filming me while I shower.
Right. Okay. Well, that's what I want. So I hope for that.
Well,
I look for the
shape.
camera.
You're in shape, so that makes sense.
Somehow.
I'm good with it.
The problem with that is I always have an opener with me, so I can't. 2 hotel rooms is too much money.
You bring an opener with you,
of course.
So interesting. Most of the people like you and I know, right? Like your Caleb Sinans or your Simon Gibsons or your people like that. Like those folks don't travel with openers. Blaustein does, but
it's one of my best friends.
Which one, Blaustein or Neil? Oh, I was going to say, I mean, both.
And Neil Ghosh, also one of my dear friends.
I love Neil to
one of my favorite people.
Neil blew my mind when he was on this podcast because he was telling me that Godzilla was created as an allegory for the atom bomb, and I never knew that, and I've never forgotten that fact from him.
You know what's even funnier is I took a whole class in college about Godzilla, and it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. And this is like a memory you just unlocked right now. It's like it was some random elective class that was like, let's just take this for fun. It was like, let's just do it. And it was like a class all about the history of Godzilla. How crazy is that?
That sounds like the greatest class
And it was
ever.
all me and my friends, and we all were just goofing around the whole time because it was like, how is this a real thing?
But did you learn anything in that class?
Clearly not, because I was like, you just said the main thing, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
No idea.
That is so funny. So I didn't know that you and Neil were tight. I love Neil.
Very tight, yeah.
And Blaustein, that makes sense. I mean, have you guys given each other guidance? You kind of came up in somewhat of a similar way. Of like you both used social in a much smarter way than I think the average person was using at the time.
I think so. I've always been friends with him. I met Neil first. Neil introduced me to Michael, and then we would see each other at open mics and stuff. And the more I hung out with Michael, we were like very similar people, and so we would hang out like once every like 6 months and be like, we should do this more. And then we just don't. And then when he started popping off, I was like kind of one of the few people he wanted to take on the road, and so he took Neil first, and then we did like him and Neil did like a southern run.
Oh, that's great.
Of like a whole week, and so we became like super close, like even more close than we were before, because when you travel that much together, you're in the car so long, we just developed this like really close bond, and then that's just maintained ever since. And Blaustein and I have just continued to get very, very close as friends. And what was so interesting about what you said about like using social media and all that stuff, I remember a conversation. I was sitting in Swingers like before COVID. This is probably January, February. And I'm not a Swingers guy. I was never like
I liked it.
I liked it, but I was never like the comic hang swinger guy.
Sure.
I just didn't do that. I just happened to, he was like, we're here, come here.
Yeah.
And I remember him being like, dude, TikTok is going to be like a thing. He was like, I just started posting on it, and I think it's going to be like really like good.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, huh, really? I was like, okay. So I remember that conversation of like probably January of 2020 or something.
Were you friendly at all with Neil Nanda?
Friendly.
Yeah. So Neil sat me down. Oh, I don't know when it was. I think it might have even been mid-pandemic, but like we would talk on the phone every now and again. And it was right before the pandemic. He had told me, he was like, do you know the Andrew Schultz model? And I was like, in so much as he posts a lot. And so Neil like really broke it down.
Yeah.
And then we like talked multiple times on the phone throughout the pandemic, and he was like, how much footage are you sitting on? And I was like, oh, I mean, like I tape a lot of my sets, a ton. And he goes like different, like any crowd work in there, like jokes in there. I was like, everything. And he goes, what do you do with it? I go, well, I don't know, just keep it on a drive.
What? Watch it if I have to remember a joke.
Yep. That's exactly what I would do. Yeah. And so anyway, Neil's the one who talked me into it. And then I posted a clip every week for 2 years because of him. But here's the reality. I think it was right after the crest of TikTok. Once TikTok had its, like the people who believed from the beginning, which I think was like, I so admire the people that were willing to take the shot on it. Like Blaustein, I think, is an example of someone who like there was no guarantee that TikTok was going to take off, but I think like he was willing to invest some time and like take a shot at it.
Well, that, and not to cut you off, but that is just discipline is so important in this whole thing, and no one's really disciplined.
Well, talk to me about your discipline, because I think that's the things a lot of people like to talk about. You know, it's very fun to write jokes, and it's super fun to be on stage. And what I always try to explain to people is that is about the 1% of what you need to do. I'm sure you're repped now, but like I imagine you booked a big chunk of your own tours in the past.
Yeah. I mean, so just to touch on like the discipline thing I've just never not posted. Like I've probably did 2-3 clips a week, and I've never not done that. Yeah. Because I don't want to go down. I just want to keep going. And so I think I've just stayed crazy disciplined and treated it like I have to, not like I should do. You have to. I want to be successful so badly that I'm gonna do everything in my power to get there, right? I went to film school. I know how to edit stuff. I can put my stuff out there. But the booking stuff, yes, I booked my own tour for, I think I did 13 cities on my own just to see if I can sell tickets. And then it went so well, so quickly that, then WME scooped me up like super quickly. Like I did like one tour date and I already got a DM from like an agent, and that was it. Like, by the way, so fast.
For folks that are listening at home, like it sounds so much simpler than it is to book out of town, because there is so much nuance to it. It's not just about booking the club. It's the promotion that comes with it, because a lot of these places are not doing all the promotion for you.
Not doing any.
Right. So like, I think for those who are listening, while that sounds super simple that you booked 13 on your own, it's not.
No.
At all.
It was a full-time job.
But yeah, I think like, I think your discipline shows. I feel like the film school side is interesting. I didn't know you went to film school. You're a film school grad. Where did you go?
DePaul in Chicago.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, it's all a joke.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I came up in Chicago.
Oh, for real? I did my first year of comedy there in like 2014, 15,
I
and then I
left
left
in 2014. I didn't know that you were. I mean, we wouldn't have overlapped, but I didn't know that you were there.
It was just my senior year of college. I was like living in a studio apartment like off Lakeshore, and I just started doing stand up, and I just got obsessed with it because I always wanted to do like acting or something. It was always like entertainment, something in entertainment. I figured acting was the mix, but then I didn't like how out of your control everything was in acting. You have no control over anything. Even if you're the best actor, that does not mean you're going to be successful. If you're the best comedian, you're probably going to be successful.
Do you think that?
I think so.
I don't.
If you're that funny, if you people will talk about you, people will find you. But the hard part, and I think Seinfeld had this quote that is not verbatim that I'm saying. It's like the hard part is being that funny. Again, if you're that funny, you will be successful. But again, getting to be that good that you're undeniable and that people talk about you and people find you and gravitate towards you, that's the hard part. And then, just did it for that first year. And then I graduated and I was like, bro, get me the fuck out of the Midwest. This shit sucks here. Move right to LA.
Because you're from the West Coast. I was about to say, I think you're a West Coaster.
Yeah, Bay Area guy. Yeah. So I was like, get me out of here. Great for me I feel like I grew up in Chicago because college is such a formidable time. For sure. And I'm like experiencing weather for the first time. And my face hurts because of the air. It's like so good for me, bro. And I'm on the train with just weirdos and people and businessmen and me with my little backpack.
It's just redlining it up and down to
for real. Yeah. That's like so real. And it was so good for me.
I'm shocked that you went from the Bay, which is like essentially a pretty baseline climate. Yes, it gets a little cold, but like my sister lives up there. My fiance's parents are up there. Like it's lovely. And then you're like, you know what? Let me trade this for like negative 60-degree wind chill.
I lived through the coldest winter since the Civil War.
Are you kidding me?
It's a hilarious fact. Like me and like Ulysses S. Grant have been through the same struggles.
I always related you two, and I never knew why, but I always thought that you two like really were similar.
Yeah, because anyone I relate to, it's a guy, it's a Civil War general. Hopefully I picked the good one, by the way.
I was more of a Robert E. Lee guy, and that's on me. That was my own. One, right? Yeah, it's a very bad one. Yeah,
get it together.
I'm trying. I'm a New Yorker, and I went below the Mason-Dixon for mine. But why Chicago? Like I went to Chicago because Second City was like, hey, you're wasting your time in Minneapolis, and I was like, interesting. I don't know about that.
Hurt my feelings a little bit, but continue.
They did. And I was literally like, and they're like, don't worry, when you come out to Chicago, like everything is going to work for you. Like come in, call us when you're here, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's why I moved. Yeah. Why the hell did you choose Chicago?
It's a great question. It was LA, Chicago, or New York. Those were the three options to me.
I mean, those are the, I'm not going to disparage any other city, but I will just say those are maybe the more prominent cities in the U.S.
At the time, also, that's what it was. It was for what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in entertainment and I wanted to go to film school. So those were the three choices.
But stand-up wasn't even on the radar at that point.
Not at all. It was only just for film school.
Because those three cities are great for stand-up. But
which I did stand-up like when I was 17 years old for like a school project.
Sure.
But never like did it. Like was like, I'm going to be a comedian. It was just like, I did it. Wow, cool. Yeah. I was always obsessed with stand-up. Regardless, LA, I couldn't get into the really good schools and the bad schools. I was like, I don't want to go to Cal State Northridge. New York, it was like too scary, too intense, too much. It was like, it's so different. It was like NYU, couldn't get into there. And I was just so out of my elements, too scary. Chicago, my sister lived there at the time. She lived there for years.
Well, that's a big piece of it.
And so that was like, I already knew I had her and them, and she's a little bit older than me, and she had like a kid, and it was all just this like nice family unit that I could go to and have. And so and then I got into DePaul, and I was like, that's a really good school.
It's a great school.
But also I was like a 3.0 student. Like I didn't have that good of grades. And so my options were kind of limited. And so I just picked Chicago and just went for it.
It is so interesting to me as someone who has the discipline that you do, that you were at a 3.0. I'm guessing it's just because that was not your thing. You're just like, I don't like school's not, I'm not in love.
That's exactly what it was. I didn't like any, I hated school. I hated reading. The whole thing I hated. I didn't like the process. I didn't like what it was, the parameters of what school was. There was nothing that like, oh, I love this class. I was like, I don't like any of this. I like hanging out with my friends at lunch and making them laugh. That's what I like to do. And that's the only thing I like to do. And when I got home, I would have my little world because I grew up an only child. My sister was so much older than me. So I had like my own little world I created. And I just hated that I had to also do homework. I just hated it.
I think that comedy requires, well, not all of it, but a lot of it requires such a high level of intellect that it's funny that you like didn't love school and now you're in one of the thinkiest jobs.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's because I get to do everything. I get to choose my path. I get to choose what I talk about. And it's just, things just never clicked with me in school. I was just never.
I know, but this is such a thinky career.
I know.
Like it's even when you're posting social media, let's say, and this is not really your style, but like, let's say you're like walking down the street and you just film yourself saying something stupid.
Yeah.
as a comedian, you're thinking about, well, that stupid thing, let me just think about it. How fast was the hook in that video that I needed? Like, when did I get to it? It's even that shit has like a lot of thinking to it.
Yeah.
Whereas you could have chosen just a mindless, easy job.
I know, which I've done. I've worked real jobs like the whole time. And up until COVID, I always had like adult 9-to-5 jobs.
Did you really?
Yeah, I worked at like startups and stuff. Like I was, because I never wanted to be like sleeping on a couch, like the struggling artist. I'm like, you don't need to do it. Stand-ups at night, go make some money so you can pay rent.
Yeah.
The reason I like doing that type of stuff and the thinky stuff, as you put it, it's because it's anything creative I like. I always was like, when I was a kid, I was always making movies. I was always like writing little things. I was always very creative, and that's the stuff I like to do. So to me, this stuff never feels like work. It never feels like being creative is just fun to me.
I pray that those movies are still around.
They're somewhere. Those little cassette tapes.
Yeah, I want to see one really bad.
They're somewhere, man. I made movies so much as a kid that one of my friends who I really loved as a friend, he stopped wanting to hang out with me because all I wanted to do was make movies. And I found that out later, and it made me sad.
Can I say something? I never loved him, and I wasn't going to tell you this. I'm never his biggest
Such a
fan.
bummer, bro. He was my favorite, but yeah, he was just like, dude, all Will wants to do is make movies, and I was like, sorry, bro, I'm just a fucking artist. I can't help it.
Do you know what's crazy is I went through that thing. I've gone through that thing my whole life. I wonder if you've experienced this at all, where it's like, I want to do all this creative stuff, but I also like don't want to miss out on being like normal.
Yeah,
so
dude.
like all my friends would be like, we're hanging out. Like I remember, and I don't know if you're like a music guy or not, but I remember I heard an interview with John Mayer talking about how he skipped his senior prom to stay home and practice.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, am I never going to be successful because I would have gone to the prom that night?
Yeah, dude, that's a big thing in entertainment, I think. Especially stand-up, because you can do it every night.
Yeah, I try not to do that.
But like you can though, and it's always like, should I be doing more?
I used to be that.
That's the biggest, at least that's a huge struggle for me right now, is with how much I'm traveling, with how much I'm doing, still doing everything on my own other than not the booking stuff. Everything else I'm still doing. It is like now trying to find a semblance of having a normal life and like hanging out with friends. Like that's not something I really do. I have a girlfriend that I spend a ton of time with, and I love her so much. And that's like a big priority for me. And now we have a dog too. So it's just things that takes so much of my energy, and I want to give my energy to that. But now it's also like trying to be well-rounded as a person, and it's really hard sometimes.
Well, it also feeds the comedy to be well-rounded. This is gonna sound like,
live a life worth writing about. It's the whole thing.
This is gonna sound like a weird question, but I promise there's a follow-up that will make sense.
I love
here.
weird questions.
Do you live with your girlfriend?
No, we will next year.
Okay, so I accidentally, it's a much longer story, but me and Jess accidentally moved in together. That was not intentional. It was at the start of COVID. People said you're going to have to quarantine for a whole 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we were in a long distance relationship. She was living in Houston. I was living here. And because I traveled so much and she traveled so much for her job, it was very easy for us to link up. But what a lot of people thought was crazy is our first year of dating, we would meet up in different cities.
Wow.
So I would be like, hey, I'm like doing like a run of shows for a week in New York. And she goes, well, I have to be in London the week before, so I'll just fly from London to New York and meet you there.
You guys are dating as if you're having an affair together.
Kind of. Yes.
That's what it feels like. I'll meet you in Houston. Don't tell my,
Yeah, it was vacation dating.
Yeah.
Which is great. But what I will say, and the reason I asked you about living with your girlfriend, there's a big difference between doing stand-up every night when you were dating someone, when you don't live together, and doing stand-up every night when you do, because there is a feeling, at least for me, when I'm out there doing shit and she is here and I'm like, I have left her and she's like sitting there on the couch just being like, what, well, I guess he's out again for the sixth night in a row. Yeah, and hopefully she means it literally. But it's like, I wonder if you ever have that feeling. Where it's like, I should be home. Like I'm out 6 nights a week, and she's like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is we started dating during the pandemic or whatever. Like,
oh shit.
And so our relationship at the beginning was very different because it was like, I'm free all the time, and then it went from that to like, I'm free none of the time.
Right.
So that was a hard adjustment. So I don't know if I ever felt that. I think as things started to get kind of crazy, it was making like a date night and committing to it.
Yeah.
And just being like, Monday is like our date night, and that's very important. And then again, it's just like, if, after a show, go see her. But I don't really feel this like, if I'm out, I'm like, oh, I need to get back. I sometimes do. But I think now we've created a system of kind of, we know what's going on, we know the deal. But I think when you live together, it'll be a little bit easier. Because again, it can be like, oh, I'll just see you. I will see you every night, regardless of what's happening,
I would say it's a double-edged sword. It's great that I see her every night, but there will also be times where like, I'll come home from like, I'll give you a great example. I was doing, and in about 3 to 5 minutes, I'm going to pay you a major compliment in this vein.
Wow.
But
hell yeah.
Get excited about it. But I was doing Madhouse, and then I had I had to run back because I had an audition that was due at 9 a.m. the next day. So I had to send that in. And then I had a podcast recording at 11 the next day. So I did Madhouse, came back, got here at about 12:30, 1 a.m., then filmed the audition, took care of that, and then like cleaned the house and prepped for the podcast the next day. But I went through all of that stuff, and it's like, cool, even though she lived here, now she essentially like gets to, and this is an exaggeration, but like gets to see all the things I'm prioritizing over her.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. What a walk to get there. Yeah,
I know.
for sure. I know. That's the priority thing's really hard.
The compliment I was going to pay you is that it's funny. I've done Madhouse a fair bit in my life, like gone down and done all those San Diego clubs. And what I will never forget about you specifically, there were two people that did this. You're one of them and Michael Longfellow is the other, where y'all would drive down, do the show, drive back, do a bunch of shit that day, drive back down again the next day, do the show, get back up, do more shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And I remember we were on the same show and I was like, where are you going? You're like, I got to go back. And I was like, why? And you're like, well, I have a ton of stuff to do tomorrow morning before I come back. And I was like, what a productive fuck. Like, I was like, it was crazy to me. And Longfellow would do the same shit. And I was like, you two are insane.
Yeah. I think, because it's like, dude, if I wake up in San Diego, it's like, I probably at that point, I didn't have a lot of money. So I'm staying in some shitty Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like a room, not even a whole place, but like a room.
Oh, trust me, I've done it. Yeah.
And then it's like I wake up and then it's like the whole day, I'm just like wasting the whole day. Now, with how much I've had to drive and do that San Diego thing, I don't know if I would do that again. Well, now there's a fucking way.
I would never do it.
But at the time, I probably did too much driving because I have like permanently like sciatica and like lower back stuff just from all the travel I've done, which is opportunity cost, bro. It's all part of it.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think I was just like, bro, but if I'm home, I can do so many more things. And then Saturday, the traffic's not as bad, so it's fine. But yeah, dude, that is pretty crazy that I did that.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
I was that. There was like a couple months where I went to San Diego like once a week to do shows. Yeah.
That's insanity.
It was gnarly. Dude, I was so hungry.
Like,
I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I don't care. There's certain things you just have to sacrifice, whether it's sleep, whether it's time, whether it's relationships, whether it's money. It's like you have to sacrifice something.
Most of the time you're sacrificing money and one of those
and something else. Usually you guys fucking sacrifice 3 things.
Oh yeah.
And so at the time, I think I was sacrificing like probably my body and my time. Probably, and to me it was. I don't regret anything.
I had a workhorse of a car. I was driving a 2002 Toyota.
Nice.
It was amazing.
So sick.
But the greater point is like I had that workhorse and I would just go back and forth between here and San Diego. And it was just like,
it's tough.
I was like, me and my bus. But the big problem, and I'm curious where you sit on this, is like travel tires me so much that I just get worn. I wear the fuck out. And seemingly you do not.
I mean, I do. Yeah. I just deal with it.
Yep.
That's all it is. It's fucking hard sometimes, man. There's plenty of times that I've been really burnt out, especially last year was crazy. And this year it's the same thing pretty much. I'm just doing less one-nighters and a lot more weekends. Up until this point, it's going to be mostly one-nighters the rest of the year. And so that's like the run and gun, new city every night shit. The weekends, you kind of get there, you're there for 4 days and you're chilling, right? It's not as crazy.
That sounds lovely.
It's lovely, but it still is like, it's really intense.
How the fuck are you doing any hobbies? How are you doing anything like, I don't know, do you like tennis? You like to go see movies?
Again, a lot of time is spent like editing and shit like that. So the hobbies and stuff I could be way better at. I love basketball. I'm like obsessed with basketball.
NBA or playing?
Yeah, NBA and playing, but I don't play because I don't want to get hurt. It's so easy to get hurt and I don't want to like hobble around spots.
Yeah. You're Warriors guy?
Grew up Warriors, stopped paying attention, became a Dallas Mavericks fan about 4 years ago.
Dallas Mavericks. Sorry. We don't have to get into big NBA talk. I'm a diehard Knicks fan.
Man.
I'm from New York.
Love the Knicks.
Really?
Love them. Love the team.
Oh, wow.
Probably my favorite team in the East.
I knew I liked you, and this feels right.
And it's not even about you, bro. I love Jalen Brunson because he was a Maverick for so long.
Yes, he was.
Him, and I love the whole thing. Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, I love the whole thing. Now they have Mikal Bridges. I think it's so fun, and I love Thibodeau. With that said, knowing I need more hobbies other than just like spending time with my lady, working out, and like taking walks and shit. I hired a basketball trainer. Who trains me
that's
a couple
amazing.
times. And it's just for fun. Again, I'm not playing. I don't want to play. I just want to be better at a thing that I love.
But that is playing. I mean,
it is. But I'm not I'm not playing.
You're not going like 5-on-5.
Not at all.
Or doing any gym runs at all.
No.
Yeah.
It's too easy. I just don't want to get hurt.
So this trainer, like, is he like your shot has visibly gotten better? Your handle gets better. Like,
yes.
Really?
I learned how to shoot.
Holy shit. Yeah.
It's still, we've only done about 4 or 5. So this is a new thing, but I'm really happy that I did this because I know
This sounds
it's
phenomenal.
like I needed hobby. Like I need something. And that's a thing where I'm like, okay, it's hard to find the time. But when I do, it's like, oh, cool. Like I did something. I did like a human activity.
This is going to sound like an insane question.
Oh.
Do you ever like bring a basketball or like go find a gym?
I would love to. There's little time, but I would love to do that.
It'd be so fucking fun if you like wake up on a Saturday. Obviously, you're going to the show that night, but you have the day.
Most of the day. I'm still probably editing a lot of the day too.
Do you take a day off? You don't.
It's not even that I take a day off. I have hours that are free, but I have a very strict schedule. You have to, because here's the thing, dude. I don't have to do anything. There's nothing in my life that I have to do. So because of that freedom, I had to create this very stringent schedule so I'm able to do my things. The only thing I have to do is if you book me at the Columbus Funny Bone, I got to show up and I got to do stand-up. Doesn't even need to be that good. Gotta just go and do the time so that the club can make the money, my agent can make her money, and I don't even need the money, right? Yeah. It's just so I'm fine. I'm responsible for other people's finances. But other than that, there's nothing I gotta do. So I've had to create this like schedule for myself so I'm disciplined and I like have everything covered. But yeah, the days off, sure. If it's like today, my girl and I, we're gonna have a Venice day.
Which I love.
We're gonna go, go to brunch and do a whole thing. It's taken that time. I want to take her to Rose.
Okay.
Which would have been a long time ago for a date night.
You're aware that if you walk incredibly slowly, it's 3 minutes from here.
I saw. Yeah. That's why we're going to go.
Oh, wow. I love that. Get the breakfast burrito. It's phenomenal.
Funny enough, I probably was gonna. I looked at the menu. I was like, probably going to get the breakfast burrito.
It's great. That's my hobby. When people say, what's your hobby? I say, I try and eat all the breakfast burritos of Los Angeles.
Man, I did the same thing for a long time. I was a big breakfast burrito guy.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, dude. we don't know each other super well.
No.
But the reason I wanted to make time for this is because I've always gotten a good vibe from you. And I feel like I feel like I like this guy and I feel like we get along.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to take time to do this, just because I always got a good vibe from you. And I was like, I know even just the breakfast burrito thing. It's like just shit like that. I'm like, I'm not surprised. I just always got are you Jewish?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no one knows that.
Can I say this? Yeah. This is going to offend a lot of people and compliment you at the same time. You do not look Jewish at all.
Yeah. People always say that.
Is that a weird?
No,
you don't take that offensively, do you?
Try to offend me.
Yeah, I mean that in the nicest way. I look overly Jewish.
I'm not surprised you're Jewish.
No, you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is about you. Number one, every show I've done with you, I've always gotten along with you. But number two, someone who I trust probably more than I trust myself is Justin Sherman. And I'd always had good energy from you. And it's funny. So you came up in conversation between me and Justin about 6 months ago because we launched a show called Tonight on Ice.
Yeah.
And everybody go. And at the Improv. When we did this, we made a list. Okay. And it was not a long list. About, 15 guys, 15 women that we really liked that were funny. And we're doing it together. We're like sitting in a coffee shop. Justin brings you up. And I said, can I tell you something? Always had good interactions with him. We are not close, but I've always, every time I talk to him, I'm like, that's a really nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Justin goes, I find it weird that you two are not friendlier. And I was like, it's not because I like him.
Yeah.
We just don't cross paths every day.
That's all it is.
And Justin goes, well, we're going to have him on the show. And I was like, that sounds great. And he's like, I would love if you guys could find a future where you hang out a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have him on Steep. I'll bring him on the podcast. And that's a really great way for me to get to know him better.
Yep.
And Justin was like, I mean, he is an Everything Reviewed alum. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Funny. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I've done his too. Yeah.
Yeah. That was back in the day.
So I'm not surprised. This is what I figured would happen is because I was like, if anything, this could be just a time to like hang out and have a nice conversation with someone that I feel like we'll have a nice conversation with.
Absolutely.
So
I'm so glad you're here. Let's jump into the first segment. Are you ready for it?
All right, let's start the show.
Yeah. I didn't want to say this. So we don't record the first 30 minutes.
Great.
So the first segment is called the Newly Friend Game. It's like the Newlywed Game, but we're friends. You have got a marker and a board over there.
And I'm supposed to drop the marker and I'm supposed to roll under the couch all the way so you can't get it right.
Did it actually just roll all the way? That is hilarious to me if it did. For those that are just listening, you're going to want to watch this. It was a fun little segment of Will really going for it there. So my question for you, and again, don't say your answer. Do you want to hold that?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were like going to do something. It was a bit, but you just wanted me to hold it.
Yeah, I just didn't want it.
No, it's fine.
I also just want to fuck with you.
I was like, that's very. Can I tell you the weirdest way someone fucked with me once is they were like, can you hold my cup during the podcast? And I said, sure. And then we just carried on.
Nice.
For like a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. Unbelievable. Anyway, okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Write down your answer. Don't say it out loud. I'm going to write it down, see if we get the same thing.
Oh, so we get the same thing. Oh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah, we're trying to get...
Dude, I love questions.
Yeah.
I like questions. When people ask me stuff, I like answering it. That's why I like doing podcasts.
Well, good. I'm going to ask you so many questions after this. It's just going to be a question and answer.
I love it, dude.
I'm going to do this one for you because I always find this interesting to do for people that are on tour a lot. What is the most surprising city for you in terms of a place that you didn't think you'd enjoy a lot that you really, really did? And don't say your answer out loud. Write it down.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is it the city itself or the experience or the show also?
I'm going to go with the city.
Just the city.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I think you can have great shows in bad cities and bad shows in great cities.
Course.
So I'm going to say the city that you found most surprising that you liked. 1, 2, 3. Flip. Royal Oak, Detroit. Okay,
Royal
I'm going
Oak,
to be honest.
Michigan, which is like Detroit. Like
I would never have guessed that.
I know.
Detroit.
Not Detroit. I'm just saying it's like
But
marketed as Detroit.
Near Detroit. It's Detroit adjacent.
Yes, Royal Oak, Michigan.
Can I tell you, I've never even heard of Royal Oak. Is that bad?
No, I don't care.
Why? What brought you there? Obviously the club, but like...
I just loved being in this little town. I don't know why. I just loved it. I thought it was gonna be like middle of nowhere weird stuff. And it was just this beautiful, quaint, nice little place. Everything was close by. I walked everywhere. I couldn't bring an opener, which was fine.
Yeah.
So I was on my own and I just had such a great time there. Random. Like beauty, and the shows were fun. It was the most money I think I made in stand-up. I was just loved the whole experience of it.
Oh my gosh. Now I kind of feel like I want to go see Royal Oak.
St. Petersburg is where my girlfriend's from.
So I guess St. Petersburg for you. It's where she's from.
Yep. And that's a really good guess. And I really liked it when I was there. And I've been there before just to see her family, see where she's from, all that stuff. But when I went there a month ago, I really liked it. I was like, this place is cool. It's like Austin and Portland combined.
Can I tell you, I love doing stand-up in Portland. I think
really?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, you don't like it.
I didn't say that.
Okay, let me phrase it a different way. You were surprised how much I liked it.
Yeah.
I happen to do very well in Portland.
Makes sense.
I don't know why.
Because of your shirt. Like it all makes sense.
Yeah. I do well there, but
it's
also,
like if you looked at us, who does well in Portland? You have moccasins on. It's like, who do you think crushes in Portland?
You. Probably me. St. Petersburg, I've never been, but that's why I wrote it down because I was like, I feel like it's like I would be anything Florida surprises me.
It's a great guess. It was very culture. It doesn't feel like Florida. It feels like you're in like Austin. It's very cool and like artsy. It does not. And I've been to most of Florida at this point. It does not feel like you're in Florida.
My mother lives in Boynton Beach, which is right between Boca and Delray. It's near West Palm. If you ever done the West Palm Improv, it's like right around there.
Cool.
I had a very weird experience at the West Palm Improv.
Sure.
I got up, and this was in 2018 or 2019. I got up there and I was like, how's everyone doing? And then someone yells out from the back, like, you're a liberal. I literally said, how are y'all doing? And they're like, you're a liberal.
That's really funny.
And I was like, I am. And then Trump chants broke out in the audience.
Whoa.
And I was just like, weird.
Whoa.
I wasn't upset about it. I was just like, out of curiosity, like, not that I'm telling y'all that you're wrong. What made you want to cheer for Trump right now? Like, we're in a comedy show.
Yeah. Wow.
I haven't even had a chance to tell you a joke yet.
Man.
What? Why?
You were just dominated.
They
won.
Sure.
They won.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't know if they won, but I definitely lost. And that's what mattered.
That's tough.
We'll do the same question for me. And we'll just see if you can get this because you now have to go from complete scratch.
Oh, this is interesting. Now I just got to guess what you would
think. You're just going to have to guess of a place where I was surprised that I really liked. You know what? I never do this. I am going to give you a singular hint, which is not that big of a hint. It is a place in the Midwest. 1, 2, 3. You said Madison. I said Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Madison, I was not surprised I really liked.
I know. That's why I was like, that's a place you think you're going to like. But I don't know. Maybe you didn't know anything about it. Madison rocks.
I did. And the shows were decently good.
Yeah.
Grand Rapids, I did not think I was going to like. I had to take a connection to get there. It was a whole fucking thing. I had to be up at 6 a.m. It was a big to-do. It was how do I explain this? The coziest big city.
I could totally see that. I've never been to Grand Rapids, but I'm not surprised. I feel like I'd feel the same way. I think I would too. I don't know why, but I totally feel like I would like it.
Does it not fit in kind of the path that you built out for a tour?
I mean, I've not really built much anymore, but I more just want to go back to Royal Oak because of the club and the deal and all that stuff. But I would totally go to Grand Rapids because I kind of market Grand Rapids to there. It's not that far away, so I just go to this place.
I wonder how far away Royal Oak is from Grand Rapids.
I think it's not that. Can we have like someone like
look
it up or something?
Jude, can you look up how far away that is?
I'm gonna guess. I think it's probably like an hour away or something.
Oh my god!
I think it's, and so that's why I will
close to Royal Oak.
I think also just the experience I had as a person there. But either way, I would love to go to Grand Rapids.
One of the places. Give you your cap back now.
All right, dude.
All
right, man.
Yeah, listen, you take your fucking cap.
We done?
I love that we're done with this section.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing?
Well, not the
all
whole
the
pod.
whiteboard stuff for the one question?
I
was ready to like, okay, cool.
Can I tell you, I swear to God, this is true. The last guest we had asked for a third question.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was just like, why? And she goes,
I was
like
locked in for this segment.
You were great. But that is the entire segment. But that's so interesting that we both went Michigan.
I know, right?
I like Michigan.
Yeah, but it's funny, I've never been to actual Detroit. So
weird question. Do you like horror movies?
Nope.
Okay. A lot of horror movies.
I want to see Long Legs though, but I'm too nervous.
I would skip it.
Okay. I'm still gonna see it, but an interesting take.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not enough for me to be like, okay.
Well, why? Well, I would never talk anyone out of seeing a movie. I think like everybody's art is not everybody's. A lot of people's art is worth seeing. Why do you want to see that?
Oh, just the marketing behind it just really got me, and I loved what I saw. And I
Good
heard.
movie
Everything
posters.
I've heard about it is makes me want to see it.
Mm.
Yeah, but I also really don't like the feeling of watching horror movies. I don't like being stressed. It's like I'm anxious and stressed enough. I don't want to be like, all right, now that I'm done with that, let's get fucking deeper into that.
Are you an anxious person? You don't strike me as anxious.
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You have very calming energy, and I don't. That sounds like I'm like saying like, oh, he's a downer. I mean that like
I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, you have energy that feels very like you go with the flow. Yeah. Like there will be ups and downs. You kind of like surf the energy.
I'm more like, yeah. Thank you for saying that because I definitely worked on it a lot. The last probably 6 months to a year, I've gotten better at it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that like active?
Yeah.
I don't want to. You don't have to answer this, but like I'm in therapy.
I'm an open book. Yeah.
Like I feel like that would be something good to work on in therapy.
Yeah.
Did you just like solo like raw dog your way to fixing it?
No, I've been in therapy for a while.
Oh,
yeah.
Therapy's the best.
And
you don't talk about it on stage. I don't think. I'm trying to think if I heard you talk about it. I don't think so.
No, I don't. If it comes up, it comes up.
Yeah.
Also, my girlfriend's a therapist.
Are you kidding me right now?
So that just already has taught me so much about life and mindset stuff, and I've also definitely spent a lot of, it's like when I started doing this whole touring thing, it's really intense and really stressful.
For sure.
The pressure is intense, and I didn't know how the pressure would feel, and it got me really stressed out.
Yeah.
And so I just had to work on it and work on myself, and I've just built a nice system for myself, and I surrounded myself with people that make me feel good, and I've learned about life, and I'm older now, and I've gotten a lot better. But for long, anxiety has always been a thing for me since I was a kid, which is annoying because everyone is anxious now. So it's like it's like, okay, you're anxious, but it's like
you don't know anxiety.
I know.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, yes, I've had a lot of that in my life, but I've gotten a lot better at it.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like I would love and hate equally dating a therapist because while I'm sure she doesn't like psychoanalyze every situation, I imagine that sometimes you might be like dealing with something and be like, okay, can you put your therapist hat on for a second? What am I missing here?
For sure.
Yeah.
But she also wins every argument because she knows everything.
What I've learned being in a relationship, even when I win, I lose. Because
we're men.
Yeah. Even when you win, you lose. What the interesting thing is, I think when I was younger, the idea of winning an argument was like delicious. You know what I mean?
Perfect word.
Yeah. As I've gotten older, the idea of getting out of an argument unscathed without ruining our days is really the prize. You know what I mean?
Agree. And I'm saying the winning and losing just for sake of the argument.
Of course.
But I'm the same way of I just wanted to be able to get past it so we can have a day.
Oh my God.
That's why, I mean, I've always been bad with conflict.
Yeah.
So it's just, I have a really hard time when all of a sudden the vibe changes and I'm like, fuck, we lost it.
Are you an immediate processor or are you someone who needs time? I feel like if you're Jewish, you're an immediate processor.
Well, I want to fix everything as fast as possible.
Right. Yep. So me too.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Is your partner, is she an immediate fixer or a time taker?
No, she's like, validate my feelings and we'll work through it.
Oh, see, I love that. What my situation over here in not that land is Jess will, and she'll be vocal about it, but she'll be like if we're in a fight, she'll be like, I need some time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say things I don't mean.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. I need
time.
Yeah, but not good for people who want to fix it immediately.
I want it fixed 5 minutes ago.
I'm like, I locked the door. We're doing this now.
Yeah, we're fucking getting into it.
I brewed the tea.
I remember when we first started dating, we got in this argument and she was visiting here. And she goes, I need some time. And then I see her putting on shoes. I go, what are you doing?
How much time?
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? She goes, I said I need time. I was like, but like, like a 10-minute walk? That seems like a lot. And she's like, I don't know. I will come back when I come back. And I was like, I don't love any of this.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
It was an hour and a half.
Wow.
And she comes back and I was like she had burned like probably 1,000 calories. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then we whatever, we'd like work through the fight. And then afterward I go, what the fuck were you doing for an hour and a half?
Yeah.
And she goes, thinking. She raw dogged the walk, no headphones.
Wow. Whoa.
What
Yeah,
a
that's
psycho.
that's kind of gangster though, because like that's the way to walk sometimes though, is you gotta just be.
Yeah. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, try it.
An hour walk?
Hour's a long time, but like it is really good to just be, to just think and just be and exist. That's why most of my writing I do when I'm driving home from a set, because I'm not on my phone.
Do you just record, like voice memo it?
Yeah, I'll have my phone dock here and I'll hit video record myself and I'll talk through things. Yeah.
You'll video record.
Yeah, because it's better than if I translate into a note, it'll fuck it up.
Oh.
And so if I video it, now I got the timing, got the rhythm of everything, and then I can write it when I get home.
Ew. I have a fear of being alone with my own thoughts.
Sure.
There's just a lot of shit going on in there.
Yeah, man.
Like, I'm scared I'll be like, I'll be like, I want to have my headphones on. I'm like, oh, it's a nice day. And, what am I going to do later? And I remember in 4th grade, a teacher said I was going to be a failure. Why did she say that?
Clearly, you need to figure that out, though. You need to get in there.
But I don't want to get in there.
I think you should.
I want to stay out of there.
But I think you need to, because the more you're out of it, the more you're going to keep fucking creating distance.
I also
got to get in there and see what's going on.
I do.
As a guy in therapy, too, I'm surprised you don't really get in there more.
I get in there. So here's a problem that I have. This is way too much, but the problem that I have, and I've talked about this with my therapist, is I will over intellectualize my own stuff as a way to keep it at arm's length. So like, I'll be like, let's say, for example, I am dealing with a lot of anxiety. I can intellectually break down why I'm feeling the anxiety, what's causing it, how I'm reacting, why I shouldn't be reacting that way. And by doing that, it lets me not dive into the actual feeling.
Oh, interesting.
It lets me analyze it from afar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like probably too much information.
Nah,
but like,
bro, no such thing. Let it fly.
And so like that is why sometimes when I'm walking, I don't want to get into that.
I always think it's interesting when people are like, they're never alone. I'm always like, what are you running from? People are always like, I need to be around what are you doing tonight? What are you doing tonight? What's going on? Like they can't just sit and be with themselves. I'm like, damn, you really, and this is not about you.
No, I love doing
like,
nothing
I think
by
it's
myself.
important to like be like, don't run from whatever you're dealing with. Like you gotta think, because if you're trying to distract yourself at all times until you go asleep, it's like, that's like, damn, bro, what's really going on in there?
So that is my problem. So the problem of like texting people, well, I don't do that shit. I'm happy to spend my nights alone. What I will say, and like this is almost like a meme, it's so ridiculous, is back in the day, like when I used to do my laundry, the laundry in the place I used to live was on the outside on the ground floor. I lived on the second floor.
Yeah.
Like
Standard.
It was on premise, but not
standard.
in unit.
Yes. We live in LA.
Right.
In units, tough to find. Do you have a unit here?
We have a unit here, yeah.
I see you, bro.
Yeah, listen. But I will tell you this. I used to, you're going to like roll your eyes. I used to fucking put on a podcast just to walk down and like put my laundry in and walk back up. You do that.
So yes, I'm a serial podcast listener. But I'm saying like, if I'm on the walk, of course I want to listen to something.
Yeah.
But there's times where it's nice to just lock in and be a person. But yes, I am always have my AirPods in listening to a podcast. If I'm packing, if I'm doing, I'm the same way. So I don't really think I'm not.
But I know, to your point, and I think what you were saying, I take it in a really in a good way. Like it makes me think, not in a way where I'm like, God damn you, Will. Of like if you're not willing to be alone with your own thoughts, maybe think about why that is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I probably should. But yeah, there are definitely moments where I'm like, I'll be like fucking doing dishes or walking around or cleaning up, and Jess is like on a work trip or somewhere, and I've always got a podcast playing.
Me too.
And I do have a moment where I'm just like, why do I need to be distracted?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't know why it is either. I think it's just nice to have the entertainment, but I think it is a little bit of like, I think it's boredom, the entertainment, but it's balancing out the time. Like what I would advise is after a set, silence. Drive home, silence.
That's such good advice. Yeah, and here's the crazy part. Half of me, 3/4 of me goes, Will is right. And the other quarter of me goes, we don't want to do that.
I know, dude, but you got to get yourself to do it.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I do think that like, I'm a very disciplined person, as obviously you are. But like, I do sometimes, I'm like, why am I disciplined in so many aspects of my life, but I'll let myself off in this one? Like I'll let myself fuck around on this one, which is like, it's tough.
Yeah, man. I've also have my bad habits. I
Of
also
course.
have my things that I fucking need
Of
to work
course,
on.
we all do.
But I like to think I'm pretty well rounded. But it's still hard to be. No one's perfect.
I know. And the other interesting thing is when I'm on the road. Oh, and by the way, really quick side, I meant to ask you this. When you're on the road, do you ever bring? I apologize, I don't remember your girlfriend's name.
I've never said it. I don't.
Oh,
think.
Okay.
Her
Well, you don't
name's
have.
Kaylee.
But do you ever say to Kaylee like, "Hey"? Obviously, she has a job, so she couldn't come to the whole thing. But are you ever like, "Hey, I've got like a string of 3 cities and 4 nights that are kind of cool. Do you want to swing over for like those?"
It's really tricky. So at the beginning, I think she was coming to more.
Yeah.
Because it was a big deal and it was a big moment, and I wanted her to experience it.
Yeah.
And the more she came with me, the more I realized that I'm not the best company. I'm not boyfriend Will. I'm in a very different space.
Different hat.
And I just feel like I can't give her what she needs. The affection, the prioritization, the love. It's like I just can't give the full extent.
Incredibly insightful.
So it's kind of like, it's like I'd rather spend time with you when I'm not doing this so I can be fully present and be like, be there for you. Because it's really hard for me to do it sometimes. And oftentimes we get into fights sometimes when we'd be on the road, and it'd be even worse then. I'd be like, now we're in a fight? Like, this is crazy. And it's not anyone's fault, but it's just, again, I'm not the best version of myself. And so now we've kind of picking and choosing what makes sense. And it's hard. We're still trying to figure it out, kind of trying to figure out what cities to go to. I'm better now though, because I'm more used to the role.
Yeah.
Like I'm not as like, I'm more like, I got it to an extent. Right. But I'm also like, before the set, I'm fucking pacing around, walking. It's like, I'm not like there sitting with her watching the show. I'm like, no, I'm like doing laps, being like a neurotic weirdo before,
I think we all are. I think that's part of it. The other thing I like to do also is I try to, in any city I'm in, go kind of walk around a little bit.
Yeah.
Just try and get the energy of what I'm dealing with.
I know. It's good too.
The other thing I love to do is I try and show up early to the show and get kind of situated so that way I can spend some time talking to local comics and be like, hey, what is like, not that I have jokes where I like plug and play, but I always want to know like, oh, hey, I'm doing a show at, let's say it's Royal Oak. I'm doing a show in Royal Oak. Well, there's a small, neighborhood that everyone makes fun of, called Gentry Village. Like, and I'll be like, oh, why do they make fun of it? It's like, oh, because there's like one thing to do and it's a slip and slide and then no one else does anything.
Sign me up.
But I want to know that stuff. So like, if I happen to, like, if it makes sense in the moment that I can say like, I mean, obviously this is no Gentry Village. And people are like, hey.
I know, it's really good to have something to say.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in St. Pete, it was like first day, didn't do anything, had nothing to say. I was like, I got nothing to say about this place. Second day, got out, had a little bit of opinions. But I think it's so important to do that. It's hard sometimes, dude.
I hate to say this, but are you ready for the final segment?
Yeah, bro.
This is called the lightning round. It's 5 fast questions. They do not at all have to be fast answers. It's the last 5 questions we end every episode with. I keep this on an index card because it makes me feel like a late night talk show host.
You
a
seem
job
like
I'll
one.
never get.
I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you so much. I feel like, you know what? My name starts with J and I'm a straight white male. Put me in. You know what I mean? I could take over for any of them.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so lightning round. Question 1. What is a favorite ritual of yours? So for example, I love brewing tea in the morning.
Favorite ritual, I'll say good and bad.
Oh,
good ritual would be 5 minutes of like breathing and meditation in the morning.
Oh, that's great. Guided or no?
Nope. I'll listen to like binaural beats and just do 5 minutes of breathing.
Great.
And doing like stretching and yoga.
Amazing.
That's probably the best thing. Bad thing is smoking weed at night and eating snacks and eating treats. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, but that's like I feel like that's pretty standard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but it's like I like it too much that I have to find some balance.
What's your snack?
Give me any treats. I need sweet and salty.
Sweet and salty.
So I need like a salty, fun thing.
Okay.
And like a sweet treat,
You know what we do when we go to the theater is we break rules. Is we bring the unwrapped Reese's minis. Have you ever seen these? It's like a bag of Reese's minis.
Oh, I love those. Are some of my favorites.
And then we throw them in the popcorn bucket.
Fun. Big though. You get them like
no. These are the small ones.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, sweet and salty.
Really good idea.
All right. Question 2. What is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
Do you know the show I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson?
Do I know the show? I love that show.
So my girl and I, it's like that's like our like sometimes that can be like our love language. Like
we
will just do kind of references from that. And it'll always be like, it's not a big deal at all Like things like that.
Yes.
It's always fun to I didn't do shit. I didn't do this. Like just stuff like that will always be funny to me.
The line that is most often said in our house is, "This is a betrayal on levels that no one has ever seen."
All good.
Yeah, amazing.
All good. That's for some. I don't think that's probably my favorite answer, but that's the thing that came to me for the lightning round.
Oh my god, yeah, that show is. It just gets you. First will watch like a sketch or an episode, and you'll be like, I don't know what just happened, but then you'll be like, I need to watch it again.
It's the best.
You're drawn to it.
It's the best.
Question 3. What is a very controversial opinion that you have?
The beach is overrated.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you're about to have a beach day.
No, I'm not.
I thought, you're having a Venice day.
Not a beach day.
Okay,
yeah,
not
I'm
a
gonna
beach
go to
day.
Abbot Kinney and walk around and go see stuff. No, beach. I think the beach is a little overrated. Sand's everywhere. You're sunburned. I'm too thirsty. It's just
you
everything.
bring water?
Yeah, but like it's gonna get hot or something. I don't know. It's just there's sand everywhere and dirty.
Yeah.
My feet. I'm very clean and OCD, so it's just not. And I think Jewish people should just not be at the beach. Also.
Yeah, I would say the paleness doesn't really match.
Doesn't help either. So yeah, I just think the beach is overrated.
So let me ask you this. Let's say that you and Callie decide that you're gonna go on a vacation. You can choose anything. You're not choosing a tropical beachy vacay.
I would, but it depends. Like we're gonna go to Cabo.
That's tropical,
but
and
it's like we'll be like a resort probably, and just chilling by the pool and like.
So you're good with a pool,
totally.
It's the sand that's really throwing.
Can't deal with the sand.
Okay.
It's so dirty, and it's just, and then we get wherever we get in the car, then the car's gross. I'm like,
that's a real thing. The last thing you just threw in there, the car does get really covered in sand.
Can't deal with it.
No, that's a good answer.
Thank you.
Question 4: have you ever experienced imposter syndrome, and if so, is there one moment that really sticks with you?
I think what comes to mind is like being backstage at a show of mine that's sold out and being like, whoa, this is like, it's almost overwhelming. Not that like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't deserve this. I feel like I deserve everything I've gotten.
Yeah.
I think I've earned it.
I think that's very healthy to get to that place.
It took a little while, but there's no part of me that's like, I shouldn't be on this lineup. I'm like, I got it. Right. But I think that I had to like detach from what was out there. I had to like not, because I can't think about that I sold 300 tickets there and I can't be like about to go out there. I have to pretend like no one's even out there and this is just a 10-minute spot at a fucking bar show. And so I don't know if that's imposter syndrome, but it's like I had to detach from who I was to be able to do my job.
I am so shocked that you were able to go into every moment, and I say this as a compliment, and just be like, I deserve this. I am not able to do that. Maybe I need to. Maybe that's something I need to work on.
Really hard. So there's no part of me that's like, I don't know if I'm like, well, I got there for a reason. I'm down there for a reason. And I don't know.
I like that your voice changes. I don't know.
I don't know if he deserved to be here.
That's so funny. All right. Question 5, final question. What is your favorite tea? But because you don't drink a lot of tea, what is your favorite comfort?
I'm, again, not a big tea guy, but I'll do the uncaffeinated, like lemon ginger tea. It's Stab. It's a company, organic tea company.
Oh. I hope it's not called Stab.
It could be.
Yeah.
Stash. I don't know.
Sure.
Either way, lemon ginger, and I put a shitload of honey in there.
Yeah.
So that's all just good stuff. Comfort stuff. I mean, bro, it's like smoking. It's smoking weed. It's like that's the only thing that turns my brain off. That's the only thing that just gets me out of everything. And I'll just watch a movie and eat snacks, and I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking about the other shit. If anything, I don't want my phone as far away from me as possible. So that's and it sucks because it's not good for you. And I've realized that I don't operate as well the next day.
Sure.
And it's taken me years to figure that out. And that's a recent discovery, which is a bummer because I really have to cut back because it affects me and my abilities the next day. But anyways, that's in terms of a comfort. But and let's take drugs out of it or whatever. It would be, I think, I mean, I love just watching a movie on the couch, just something very simple, or just going to a coffee shop with my girlfriend and having like an existential talk. I won't make this super fast. I had to do a show in the middle of nowhere. I cannot stress enough how the middle of nowhere this was. Like there was not a major city anywhere. And I looked for a coffee shop. There was a Cuban coffee shop. We propped ourselves up at the Cuban coffee shop. It was one of my favorite memories I have had of our entire relationship. We played cards, and the cards were really just a background for us to just have something to do with our hands while we had a conversation, and spoke existentially for like 4 hours. Love it.
And it was amazing.
I love it. I don't like cards enough. Cards are not really a thing anymore.
I love cards.
What do you play? It's a 2-person card game.
Tons. There's a game I play called Acid, which is a total blast. And we do that. There are like trick taking games you could play too, but like I would say like Acid is my favorite 2-person game in the world to play.
Send me what it is, like the rules?
Hell yeah,
great.
I think you two should play it.
I would love to play cards more. I love like board games. I love that. We just don't do it anymore because we're just watching stuff.
When I'm on the road, I'm playing cards all the time.
What are you like an NBA player on a plane?
Yeah, I mean, I love, this is the only time I'll ever be compared to an NBA player, and like, I'm going to take it.
Take it, bro.
That was a pod. How do you feel?
I feel great. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
How do you
so
feel?
much fun. I had a blast.
Really?
Genuinely.
How many of these have you done?
This is 88, maybe closer to 90.
The only way you can put this out is if you put your fucking podcast in your bio of your Instagram. And that's the only way I will allow this to be seen.
It's going in. Literally as soon as we get off, I'm going to put it in.
Good.
And then we can get off at the fact that I put it in.
I can't wait, dude. Really enjoyed talking to you. I knew I would.
Good.
I just had a feeling. I'm going to enjoy doing this. I apologize for being late.
Please don't.
I am glad we were able to figure out the scheduling thing.
Yeah, of course.
I'm happy for what you're about to go do.
Yeah.
And I hope to see more of you.
I feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was Will Burkart. You can find him on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Will Burkart. This episode was produced by Jude Crowner. It was edited by Martin Alvarez. Our theme song and additional music are by Oliver Hymack. Our cover art was done by Neil Fraser with photography by Matt Mazisco. Social media by Dia Villegas. Please write a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you can. You can send any questions, comments, newly friend game suggestions, or tea suggestions to steepcombos@gmail.com or tweet us at steepconvos. I'm Josh Lanzet, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Josh Lanzet. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.
I don't know how to sit. How do I sit?
You're sitting great.
But then I need this to be here, and I need to hold the microphone and also. So you're doing it with cross leg. Okay. Let me make sure my penis and balls are out while I do this.
Well, here's the thing. That's a joy that only the viewing audience will get. The
Joy is a strong word.
Well, I mean, surprise.
There
shock
you go.
and awe. Shock and awe.
Shock and awe is nice.